But if the numbers are not right, I wouldn't recommend they do the deal, because they're going to make it's going to turn out to be a situation where that private lender, that new relationship that you're starting with that private lender, uh, is probably not going to go well, because once you sell that property, or let's say you do an appraisal and you want to refinance, you can pay that private lender as well. But if the numbers are just not there, you want to make sure that the first deal you do with him is going to be a success.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
What if you could raise over $1 million in private money without begging banks, without relying on your credit score, and without putting your own cash on the line? How do you actually find the people willing to write those six-figure checks for your deals? Well, that's exactly what today's guest has done. My guest, Jason Lassiter, has been in real estate for over 15 years. He's flipped more than 100 properties, everything from entry-level homes to luxury flips, commercial buildings, and even apartments. He's done wholesale deals, built a powerhouse real estate team to serve his community, and he even wrote the best-selling book, Work 9 to 5 and Flip on the Side. Now, if that wasn't enough, Jason also runs a nonprofit called Safety 52 that uses smart housing and wearable tech to help protect children and the elderly from abuse and neglect. But today, we're not talking theory. We're talking about the $1.5 million that Jason has raised in private money. I want to break down exactly how he does it, how he finds private lenders, and how you can do the same thing in your market. Well, welcome to Raising Private Money Show, the only podcast for real estate investors who want to fund their deals without relying on banks or credit or using your own cash. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, and I'll show you how to get private lenders begging to fund your next deal, because every good deal starts with the money. And we'll get started in and meet Jason Lassiter right after this. Well, hey there, Jason. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Nice to see you again.
Great to see you. I enjoyed being a guest on your podcast. And when I learned on your show that you had raised all this private money, I said, well, it only makes sense to have Jason come on the show, because after all, the name of this show is Raising Private Money. So I'm so glad you're here, Jason. Now, you've raised $1.5 million in private money. So my first question is, from your own experience, what's the very first thing someone needs to know before they even approach a potential private lender?
What they need to know is they need to have good communication skills and good networking skills, and they need to know what they're doing in terms of rehabbing, in terms of finding good deals, finding good properties out here. They need to be able to network with a lot of investors that are wanting returns, investors that want to work with individuals involving real estate. And that's what I've been able to do. I started real estate in 2005. I did my first condo out in Waterbury, Connecticut. And basically, it was my first rehab. It was a condo in Waterbury, Connecticut. And what I did is I bought this condo and I put new fixtures in there, stainless steel appliances. I did interior painting, did the flooring, and then I ended up selling it. And I made my first profit was about $32,000 on that condominium. And that was back in 2005. And then, my background is IT security. So I had moved from New York and I moved to Kansas City, Missouri to pick up a consultant job with Cerner Corporation. It was just going to be for 6 months. But when I came out here to Kansas City, I couldn't believe how cheap the houses were. And I couldn't believe you would have a Home Depot, a Lowe's, and a Menards all within 5 miles. And you would also have a title company within 5 miles. So when I got out here, when I saw how cheap it was with houses, I started just doing rehabs on the side. And I ended up flipping over 100 houses. And then when I wrote my first book, Work 9 to 5, I would bring that book to my networking groups, to my networking events, and I would just hand it out for free. And that helped me really start raising bigger money than what I ever had done. Because I was using a lot of hard money too when I first started the rehabs out here. So since then, I've been able to buy a strip mall with pretty much hardly nothing down. When I bought the strip mall, it was 1.5 million for the strip mall. I put down, I put the property under contract with $1,000 earnest deposit and closed in 3 months.
Wow.
And I didn't even know how I was going to find the money, Jay, for buying the strip mall. But I went on Craigslist and I found a private lender on Craigslist actually.
That's
and
amazing.
He was the first one, and I got a great relationship still with him. This was back in 2021. He basically put down over $900,000 down on this property for me. So I put about 35K, and then I did a second with the seller for the rest to carry a load. So pretty much nothing, hardly nothing down, about $35,000, $36,000 with $1,000 deposit, and I tied it up, for 3 months and closed. And that was my first private lender that did. He pretty much carried almost the whole amount, and then I did a second with the seller. So that was my biggest deal on the commercial property. And I'll tell you what happened 2 months ago. I'm going to tell you really quick what happened.
All right.
So I saw, on my way to the strip mall, I saw this mini mart grocery store, and I went in there, I bought a couple of things, and I asked the lady, would you be interested in selling this mini mart? And she said yes. And then we decided a price. Again, I put down $1,000 earnest deposit. I put in the contract that I would like to close in 2 months, and I would like to be shadowed. I want to shadow her. I want to learn how to do the register. I want to learn how to do the inventory. I want to check to see how I can add gas pumps, because there's no gas pumps at this mini mart. So I was able to go to the I think it was USDA, and they went out there and they checked to see if the place would be eligible to have gas pumps. They inspected it. They said, yes, Jason, you could put 4 gas pumps at this location. And I'm waiting on the quote right now. So here's what happened. My lender, the same lender that helped me with the strip mall, he said, Jason, yeah, I'll fund the deal, but I want you to put down 30%, which was about 50 grand, because the property was going for 174, 170, actually 172. And we got down to closing, because I had another guy, a friend of mine, he said, Jason, I'll fund you the 30%, so you don't have to put nothing down. So when we got to closing that day, the person that was going to give me the down payment, he had an emergency. He couldn't do it. So I called my main lender. I said, Jeff, this guy, I can't close. I don't have the down payment. So he says, call my lawyer and talk to him about the situation. Also call the seller. So I called his lawyer, said, I'm sorry, I don't have the down payment. And then I called the seller. I said, I'm sorry. I don't think I'll be able to close. I don't have the down payment, unfortunately. I don't want to hold you up. I said, I don't want to hold you up. I get a call about an hour later from the husband. He says to me, Jason, we'll do a second for the down payment. We'll do a second, 5 years for the down payment. I said, okay, that's wonderful. That's great. I said, we can close. So a week later, we closed. We did all the paperwork. I put zero money down. I've been going to that grocery store for the last 5 days. So, when I closed on it, all the employees quit. I guess because I don't know, for some reason they quit. But the next day, two of the employees called me and they said, Jason, we want to work. We were just nervous because you're a new owner and, we were just nervous. So I'm fully staffed. I'm learning how the inventory is done. I applied for the liquor license and the store is now making money. But it'll make a lot more money once we get the liquor license.
Well,
I never owned a mini grocery store before, so it's my first one.
Wow. Well, yeah, and you make a good point there. I mean, private money is you can use for any class of real estate, single family houses, apartments, self-storage, and now mini marts.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, one thing that you said a few minutes ago that I really want to highlight is so important, and I have observed the same thing over all these years of raising private money, and it's the people that have at least average to good communication skills.
Yeah.
Because without average to good communication skills, it's hard for that private lender to sense that level of confidence
Yeah.
that the operator or the borrower is going to have. And if they don't feel confidence, if they don't feel like you sound like you know what you're doing, they're not going to loan money to you. That's
right.
Sure.
That's right. That's so true, Jay, because when I first met that private lender, as I mentioned, I met him on Craigslist, and I gave him a copy of my book, and he really liked the book. And I wrote my second book. It was this past December. It's called The Passion of Real Estate. It's on Amazon. It's a great book. I've gotten great reviews on it. But yeah, it's called The Passion of Real Estate. And I sent him a copy of that book, and I had his name in that book too. So he kind of liked it. But it's a great book. It's better than my first book. And it's really, as you know, Jay, it's not about the book sales. It's about building the credibility, right? It's building the relationships. So, with your private lenders, you want to build those relationships. And you can meet private lenders, as you always mention, anywhere. It could be in your backyard, could be at your job, it could be anywhere. It could be at the store, the gas station you go to, it could be your chiropractor, it could be your doctor, it could be your lawyer, your accountant. So there's many locations to meet private lenders. They're all over the place.
Yes. Well, the abundance mindset says there's money all around you. There's money all around you.
We have 8 billion people on Earth, right? So I mean, they're all over the place.
That's right. Now, a lot of new real estate investors that haven't raised capital, they ask themselves this question. They'll say, well, why would anyone trust me? And here we are back to this confidence thing. But why would anyone trust me with their money? Did you have any of those feelings or thoughts in your mind when you were starting out raising private money?
I did, because when I first started out, I started out with a lot of hard money. When I did my rehab, hard money lenders. These are people that charge very high interest. 15% or more interest. And, even some private lenders will charge that. But still, I think after you do your first deal with that private lender and they see the great job you've done, and you may even have some obstacles, you may have had, maybe you weren't able to pay on the exact date, but they see the effort, they see the return that they got, and they see the success. So they're going to want to do another deal. Because, a lot of people putting their money in the banks and they'll get up to maybe 6% on a CD, a CD at a bank. I mean, that's hardly nothing. I mean, in a year. So when you talk to them about the money that can be made doing a private deal with a property or any real estate, you're going to get better returns versus having your money and buying a CD, at a bank with it, so they can see the big difference on those returns and they're pretty excited about it.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up the rates and CDs. I actually just checked a couple of weeks ago. The national average right now for a CD, certificate of deposit at the local bank, is only paying 3%, and that's a
Oh,
CD. I mean,
wow.
a money market or savings account is less than 0.5%. And so, like, I've been paying all my private lenders the same thing since 2009, and that's 8%. And
Mhm.
so when you come along and pay 8%, that's no points, no origination fees. So there's no broker to
Yeah.
pay. There's no middle person. So you pay them 8%. I mean, compared to what they can get in the local bank, that's a huge difference right there. So let me ask you this, Jason. From your own experience and observations, what would you say are some of the biggest mistakes that you see real estate investors making when they're starting to raise private money?
I think some of the mistakes is basically um, when they may have a deal going on, but the deal they might be they may be new at this, and it could be that the deal there's just not enough liquid. I mean, not liquid, but not enough equity in the deal that they're doing. They could be doing a single family property, and the numbers are just not right, and it's not enough money to really do well on the deal. So they can't get so attached to that property, and they might be anxious to do their first deal. But if the numbers are not right, I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend they do the deal because they're going to make it's going to turn out to be a situation where that private lender, that new relationship that you're starting with that private lender, uh, is probably not going to go well because once you sell that property, or let's say you do an appraisal and you want to refinance, you can pay that private lender as well. But if the numbers are just not there, you want to make sure that the first deal you do with him is going to be a success. So
Yes.
that's the main thing. And in real estate, as you know, we don't always close on the date we say we are going to because it depends on the environment, depends on the interest rates, depends on a number of different things. Location of where the property is, a lot of different factors. So you just want to make sure that you have a good location that's selling. You want to look to see if it's selling well. You want to look at the appraisal, the after repair value of the appraisal. You want to make sure you have a very good rehab team if you're doing your rehab. If you're doing commercial, you might have better success because on a commercial deal, you got rents coming in, you got better chances, better opportunity to be successful on the commercial side
Yes.
versus I've done over 100 rehabs, so I I know this for sure. So, you
That's
know,
right. That's right. Well, as you were talking about mistakes that new capital raisers make, one of the probably the biggest mistake that I see real estate investors making, and I'm not talking about borrowing hard money here. I'm talking about building relationships
yeah,
and getting individual ordinary people to fund your deals, is that they've got the wrong mindset. And here's what I mean
yeah,
by that.
true.
They they think that whoever's got the money makes the rules, and that's not the case here.
Yeah,
Instead of
good point.
applying for a
Yeah,
mortgage, we're offering an opportunity. We set the interest rate as far as what we're offering. And so they've got in their mind that there may be a fear of rejection. They feel like they're asking for money. And this is not about asking for money or applying for a mortgage. It's about offering an opportunity. And if someone's not interested in your program, as you just said, there's 8 billion people on the planet. There's a
yeah,
lot of people out there. And what I'm seeing right now, Jason, and tell me if you agree with me, I'm saying there's more money available than there are deals.
yeah. There is. There definitely is. There's plenty of
So,
money out here. I mean, there's so many. There's so many investors that want to do deals. The people that want to make money. So I mean, you can go to yacht clubs. You can go. I mean, there's so many different clubs you can go. You have family offices. You have all different types of investors. That want to do deals. That want to make money. So you have to attend those networking events, and you have to get involved. You have to, if you just sit back, nothing's gonna get done. You got to take action, right, Jay? You
That's
got to
right.
take action. So that's
Yeah.
the main thing.
I've never seen anybody come knock on my door saying, "Hey, I want to loan you some money." Well, that's not true. That's not true. When you start raising private money, your
Yeah,
private lenders are going to refer
that's true.
other people to you, and they do come knocking on your door.
And that's happened to me too. Yeah, that's definitely happened
I
to
mean,
me.
the word
Yeah,
starts getting out. So,
yeah,
something that's very important is making sure everybody is protected. So once you've got the money raised and you're going to be able to put that money to work and invest that money for your private lender, what are some examples, or how do you structure your deals so it's a win-win for both you and the private lender, and everybody's going to win and everybody's protected?
yeah. What you can do a promissory note with a deed of trust, and you go down to the city and you record that deed, and that way the private lender is protected. You're protected. Because once you sell the property, then they can get paid, and then everything can get released from the paperwork standpoint. I've done all my deals have been through private promissory note and also deed of trust. Some of my private lenders they don't care about signing a deed of trust. We just sign a promissory note. But to really be protected, it all depends on your relationship too with that individual, right? Because if you've known that person for a long time and he trusts you and everything, he may just want a promissory note. Some people may want a deed of trust as well signed. So it all depends on your relationship with that individual. Uh,
Right.
so you and that individual, but in order to be protected on both sides, the deed of trust should be signed.
Yeah. How do you structure your deal to where you have like a maximum loan to value or whatever, to where you're protecting your private lenders, to where you keep it conservative? Now, of course, on that mini mart example, you had that 100% leveraged of the purchase price,
Yeah.
but my guess is the actual mini mart was worth more
Oh yeah.
than you bought it for.
Yeah. Yeah. I think from what I've learned so far, that mini mart would probably appraise for about 400,000. Because
Mm.
here's the thing, it's in a rural area. It's the only store within 10 miles. There's a lot of harvesting going on, farmers at this mini mart we also cook. We do hamburgers, cheeseburgers, salt burritos, chips, and tacos. Special days that we cook certain things, pork ribs, and all that stuff. So like today, they told me, "Oh, Jason, we got over $400 in sales from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. today." And I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty good with just the food." So um, it's a good deal, and a lot of these farmers are coming in and buying breakfast and eating. So it's a good deal. So the numbers, I think, would be very good on the return of that, especially once I add once I get the liquor license, then that'll even be because they were getting 1,600 a day just from the liquor license, and I don't have the liquor license yet. So once that happens, that'll be more income coming in. But from what I've heard, Dollar General once wanted to come there, and the city. It wasn't the city, but there was a person that owned the land. They didn't want to sell it to them for some reason. I don't know. But then I also heard that Dollar General wanted to buy the mini mart where I'm at for 400K, but the seller didn't want to sell it to them. So I do know I have a good location and a good property. So I know I can sell it right now and make a profit, because I know a lot of friends from Pakistan and India that own a lot of gas stations, and they would love to buy mine right now. So,
Right. Well, that's great that you could liquidate at any time that you wanted to. Now, Jason, one thing that you're interested in that I'm also interested in, and that is giving back and making an impact. So you've got this nonprofit, Safety 52, that's focused on protecting kids and seniors. So my question is, how does your mission and community work tie back into building trust with investors or private lenders, or does it?
Yeah, I think the nonprofit definitely helps because I'm reaching out to a lot of people that have housing, but they don't have smart housing. And that's what I do with the Safety 52. We provide smart housing, which, for the elderly, whether it be helping them with having more accessibility within the house, where in the bathroom they have something that they can hold on to. Also, with the security alarms, we have certain security alarms that can help them out. So I've given away over 100 carbon monoxide detectors, and it was so good for the community. People really enjoyed, because carbon monoxide is what you call a silent killer. It has
Mm-hmm.
killed a lot of people. Even when you look at the Airbnb properties, there's been people that have died. They don't, because of carbon monoxide. So it's good to have carbon monoxide detectors that can detect that carbon monoxide in houses. So I feel really uh, blessed to be able to help somebody with what we do, with what we give. And it's a great feeling to be able to give to others and to help other people, whether it be with food or whatever we're doing to give back to help the community.
Excellent. So, for the person that's listening to this show, and if they haven't raised private money before, what advice would you give them on how's the best way to start?
I would say to start building relationships. Build relationships. Let them know what you do. Let them know what you're trying to do. Let them know, what type of investor you are. Are you in commercial, residential? And get engaged. Go to a lot of networking events, a lot of network parties, or in your local area, join your real estate clubs, uh, and just get engaged and let them know what you're trying to do. Again, it may not be residential, commercial. Maybe you're trying to start a business and you need money for that. So there's so many different strategies to raise capital. And you're an expert yourself in it too, Jay. So you've raised a lot more than I have.
Well, it's all the same principles for sure, and we can learn from each other for sure.
That's right. That's right.
So, Jason, someone listening, they want to continue the conversation with you. What's the best way for them to contact you? No question, you've got integrity. May have some listeners here that have got some liquid money or retirement funds they would like to invest and get a high rate of return. How can people reach out to you?
Yeah, they can contact me at coachjasonl.com. That's my website, coachjasonl.com. They can also contact me at my number, 816-908-5355 directly. They can email me also at securityawake2@gmail.com.
I want to give out your URL again, which is www.coach, C-O-A-C-H, Jason, and the initial L.com, coachjasonl.com. And for folks to go ahead and know, what type of coaching do you provide?
Yeah, basically I provide coaching in terms of for helping people that never done real estate before. They want to get involved in doing rehabbing, and also commercial. I also help people solve problems. And, there's many times you're going to get yourself, you might get, when you're just starting out, or you can be an experienced investor and you just don't know what to do and you're struggling with a situation on closing a property. You can call me and I can help you. I can share my experience of what I've been through. I've been through many, many, many obstacles, and I can probably help you. I'm sure I can help you through some of your problems that you may be going through as well.
That's wonderful. Jason, thank you so much for joining me here on the show.
Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate it. So glad to see you again.
Yes, same
We
here.
have to meet up again. When's your next event?
Next event actually is right around the corner, only 2 weeks away from tomorrow, and that is the Private Money Conference .com right here in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. And the one after that is in February
Oh,
2026.
oh, wow. Okay, okay. And how many days is your conference for?
It's 3 days. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay, okay, perfect.
Excellent. Thank you
Well,
again, Jason. We'll be in touch.
thank you, Jay. I appreciate it.
You got it. And there you have it. Another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. I need your help, for those of you that are listening in here, for me to have more amazing guests, just like we had here with Jason. I need for you to like, review, share, subscribe. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube, be sure and click that bell so you don't miss out on any more upcoming episodes. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, and I look forward to seeing you right here on the next episode of Raising Private Money.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.